Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Sports Zone.
Turner Field has been a home field advantage for the Braves. They have the best record in the game, and a big reason why is their ability to win in the final at bat. They did it again last night as Andrelton Simmons was the most recent hero. Tonight, Atlanta looks to keep their eye on the prize, home field advantage, as they finish up their season series with the Brewers next. Toss to Harden. On a rainy night in Atlanta, it is time for Braves baseball. The home games dwindling down to a precious few, and a chance for Atlanta to continue to lead the National League for the race for the best record. They'll try to take 2 out of 3 from the visiting Milwaukee Brewers tonight. Hi again, friends, along with Dale Murphy and Joe Simpson. Great to be back at the ballpark where the Braves walked off last night, courtesy of an Andrelton Simmons game-winning hit. Jason Hayward not in the lineup tonight. No worries. It was a scheduled day off. But, fellas, we've certainly enjoyed watching Jason roam center field and lead off for Freddie Gonzalez and the Braves this year.
Well, Chip, I've always been a big Jason Hayward fan ever since he came on the scene. But my appreciation and admiration for him, what he has done this year, has just grown by leaps and bounds. He's had appendicitis, got hit in the jaw, came back sooner than expected, and he has turned into a gamer that I love to watch play. Bottom line, Joe, is that the Braves are 38-5 when he scored a run. Key ingredient to this ball club. Is great to see him back.
Yeah, and when he's been getting on base already since he came back from the broken jaw, Murph, whether it's by hit or by walk, every time he gets on that way, he scores a run. That's not always the case for other guys who are in the leadoff spot, and that's why Jason's so valuable for Atlanta heading into the postseason in that top spot in the order. Outside of Jason Hayward, since August 21st, a very low batting average and on-base percentage, just 10 runs scored there. And the team has gone 14-14. So 10 runs out of your leadoff spot in 28 games pales in comparison to what Jason's done for the ball club when he's in that spot.
And the ability to manufacture runs in postseason play is a very, very big factor for any offense, and a healthy and happy Jason Hayward will certainly help the Braves toward that goal come October time. When we return, the Braves still try to keep home field advantage for the National League portion of the playoffs. Tom Hart will break down Atlanta's dominance at Turner Field when we come back right after this.
they close the series with the Milwaukee Brewers tonight at Turner Field. Hello, everybody. I'm Tom Hart. What is so important about home field advantage and a #1 seed? No one has more home wins this season than the Atlanta Braves. They would love to be here throughout the National League side of the playoffs. So here's how the standings look in the race for the best record in the National League. And a key in a moment. Cardinals won today. They swept the Nationals behind some great rookie pitching. Michael Wacha nearly had a no-hitter last night. Shelby Miller, the winner today. Cardinals are off tomorrow, so the Braves have a chance to regain that lead. Thanks to a pair of home sweeps against both the Cardinals and the Dodgers, Atlanta owns a tiebreaker against both St. Louis and Los Angeles. That is a very, very important aspect. Now, what makes the Braves so good at home, and what do the numbers look like? 30 games above 500 here at Turner Field. Pitching a huge part of that. The 2.69 home ERA is the best in baseball. And the 115 run differential, best in baseball once again. Another thing that makes the Braves so good, well, we saw it again last night. No matter who it is, clutch hitting. And Andrelton Simmons provided the walk-off last night, whether it's Simmons, B.J. Upton, Freddie Freeman, or whomever. The Braves have a way of coming back in games, and they have the best closer in baseball to make sure they're within shouting distance. See if they get another one of those tonight as Atlanta says goodbye to the Sudsmen. It's a final game in the series between the Braves and the Milwaukee Brewers with home field advantage on the line through the NLCS. A win tonight would be huge for Atlanta.
Opening day in 2014. The question is, how many of these faces will be in next year's opening day lineup? The Brewers have Norichika Aoki leading off in right field. Carlos Gomez bats second in center. Lucroy, the catcher, hits third. Aramis Ramirez is the Milwaukee cleanup man. He'll play third base. Chris Davis in left. Jeff Bianchi at short. Sean Halton at first. Scooter Gennett is the 8th place hitter at second base. And former Cardinal, former Twin, former Philly, and current Brewer Kyle Loesch will pitch and bat ninth.
Paul Mahala makes his 26th start. Like Loesch, he is 10-10 on the year, but his best work has come here at Turner Field. He's gone 6-2 here with an excellent 2.18 ERA, and as you see, the largest differential between home and road record in the major leagues. But of his 16 homers, only 5 have come in this ballpark. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. Well, it is an opportunity for him, kind of up for grabs, maybe that 4th starter spot in the rotation for the postseason. Freddie Garcia pitched well last night. He strung together some good starts. And now it's Paul's turn to try to make a last impression on the manager and pitching coach. He's also got to limit his mistakes. It seems like every time lately that he's made a mistake, it's turned into a home run. That certainly was the case in Chicago his last start. He gave up 2 homers and a no decision.
So Mahalam will go after Norichika Aoki. He's leading things off for the Brewers. He's 2 for 9 so far in the series. And it's inside. 1 ball, no strikes. .64 degrees on a raw night in Atlanta. Aoki with a couple of doubles in the set has scored 2 runs, 1 in each of the first 2 games of the series. And now at even count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Look at Aoki almost run out of the batter's box as he tries to make contact. He missed it though. 1 and 2.
Reminding me a little bit of the Carlos Gomez approach. Swing and see what happens.
That's off the plate for an even count at 2 and 2.
Maybe a little off balance here. Helmet may go flying, but
well, this guy's going to make contact.
Yeah,
as we've said a couple of times, he's an awfully tough man to strike out.
Not quite the Carlos Gomez approach in that regard.
And this is what he did last night. A 10-pitch first inning at bat against Freddie Garcia. Milwaukee threatened in that first inning, but could not break through.
Heads up. Boy, if you're in the on-deck circle with this guy on the third base side. Carlos looking at him like he did it on purpose.
Ball almost looked like it was behind him.
When I was doing the Cubs games, Lou Piniella was managing the Mariners and Ichiro. It's a little tapper's hit out towards short. Simmons has it and gets a fast runner by a step for the first out. And Kerry Wood was pitching, Murph, one day in spring training, and Ichiro was just lining ball after ball after ball over the third base on deck circle. And Lou Piniella called timeout and said to Ichiro, "Son, will you tell me you can pull the ball just one time?" Next pitch, Ichiro hit one about 5 miles into the bleachers or onto the berm in right, rounded second base and third, and looked at Lou, hands up like, huh? And Lou said, do whatever you want. It worked out really well for both of them. Here's Carlos Gomez. And here we go. Swing hard and see what happens. You're right,
Yep.
Dale. Strike 1. When he hits it, it goes a long way. Gomez has a home run in the series.
Well, his at-bats are not ones you want to miss. Something interesting is going to happen.
He didn't miss that one. And that is a long solo home run for Gomez and a very slow trot. And he's talking to Paul Mahalam about it. Now Freddie Freeman's jawing at him between first and second. Whoa, did Gomez put on a show? And he's still talking to Mahalam and still looking at him. And now McCann's going to meet him.
Wow, I've never seen this before.
He's got a score, you know. Reed Johnson got right in the middle of that. I don't want to see him get hurt any further. Gomez is at the back of the Milwaukee front. It's one thing to stand and watch one, Murph. It's another to jaw at the pitcher as you're running the bases.
What in the world is Gomez trying to prove?
Well, I think we've seen that
he's even shoving his own teammates.
He's a little unpredictable up there, but he hit a home run his first AB here right in the series and has punched out almost every other one.
He still hasn't scored.
I have never seen a catcher come out like Brian McCann did and stop a guy from scoring.
So the scrum is all but over. Gomez has yet to touch the plate after he hits a long home run. And I'm with you guys. I have never seen a guy continue the discussion with the pitcher, the first baseman, the shortstop, the third baseman, and then the catcher before he gets to the plate.
We already saw how that worked out earlier this year for Atlanta in Miami when the pitcher Fernandez hit a homer and did a lot of jawing and talking. Renicky and Freddie Gonzalez talking about it, and not in a friendly way.
Well, playing with Ron Renicky's brother Gary a little bit, I'm sure that knowing the Renicky family a little bit, I don't think this is the way they want to play ball. I mean, people talk about guys should be able to do what they want after they hit a home run. You know, you should be able to do whatever you want. That's true, but there comes a point to where you're really rubbing it in, and it gets to the point where it's bad sportsmanship.
He's staring at Mahalan, staring him down.
Freddie, tell him just round the bases.
Well, some of this, I'm sure, frustration for Gomez. Yes, he's hit 2 homers in the series, but he's also struck out 6 times in the series.
He still has not gotten to home plate. A lot of guys trying to get at Gomez at that point.
Well, do you guys know of any prior history with him and Mahalam?
No.
Has Mahalam knocked him down 3 or 4 times? I mean,
No.
what's going on?
He had 8 hits and 19 at bats head-to-head with a home run. And Paul stared him down as he ran the bases too. So now the umpires meeting in front of home plate. We'll see if there are any ejections or
This
any
is
warnings
unprecedented
issued.
right here.
They're going to throw Freddie out.
What did Freddie
He's
do?
going through about 3 or 4 of them. Gomez acted like he wanted somebody, but he was going the wrong direction to do that. They're going to throw Freeman out of the game.
All Freddie did was scream at Gomez to put his head down and run. How can you throw him out for that?
I want to know what they're going to do about him not scoring.
Now we understand that Gomez has been hit by pitched balls by Paul Mahalam twice before. And so Freddie Freeman is going to be ejected from this game, it appears. We'll see if Gomez gets tossed as well. Unless something happened in the scrum that we didn't catch at first glance, this makes no sense to me.
Reed Johnson's the guy that got to Gomez first.
That's the only reason why Freddie would get ejected.
Terry Pendleton doing his best to try to screen out Reed Johnson, but Freddie's still moving forward. Being held back by some Brewers, including bench coach Jerry Narron. There was Reed. I mean, Reed jumped right in the middle of him.
Terry Pendleton may have been ejected as well. Now Freddie Gonzalez talking things over with Doug Eddings at first base.
I'd like to know if anybody from Milwaukee was ejected.
Well, that's the big question. And Gomez still hasn't touched the plate. Chris Johnson grabs a first baseman's mitt. He'll take over for Freddie Freeman at first. And we're still trying to sort out if anyone on Milwaukee's side has been kicked out or if any warnings are going to be issued here.
Somebody needs to alert Freddie Gonzalez that no one ever touched the plate.
And Paul Nauert pointed to both dugouts as if to say a warning has been issued. And Gomez still has yet to touch the plate. Brian McCann put an embargo on that right at the edge of the grass where the home plate circle is.
You'll remember last week when Hernandez in Miami hit that home run. Brian waited till he touched home plate and then got after him a little bit. Brian wasn't even going to let him get near home plate.
Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, was the Brewer that went down.
Now Dan Uggla's coming out to play second base.
Chris Johnson moves to first, and looks like Elliott Johnson's going to move to third. But what about the Brewers? What about not necessarily the entire team, but what about Gomez?
You know, there weren't any punches thrown, were there? I didn't.
Unless Reed Johnson got one in, and
well, Freddie. I mean, you got. Don't you have to throw punches? And
Freddie was. Maybe they got mad at him for yelling at him as he rounded the bases and came in the fray.
Thrown out for yelling at a guy?
Well, it looks like Gomez is going to leave the game too, or at least he's down in the tunnel. Let's check in with Tom, who maybe can sort things out for us downstairs.
All right, guys, I don't have a lot of clarity, but this I do know. Gomez never touched the plate, but they're not going to call him out. They're going to count the run because they would have ruled Brian McCann obstructed with him coming to the plate. So without McCann getting in his way, the umpires say he would have touched home, run counts.
So it's a home run for Gomez. We'll see if he remains in the game. New infield for Atlanta. Chris Johnson, Dan Uggla, Simmons still in at short. Elliott Johnson is now at third base. And Jonathan Lucroy is the hitter and breaks his bat. Uggla at second has that, and that's the second out.
I think this, Dale, is the first time I can remember a scrum like this where the pitcher wasn't involved in the sense that he got kicked out for hitting a batter or throwing at someone.
And I would love some explanation. I agree with you. I've just, you know, you see benches empty all the time, but that was one of the more unique ones I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like it, but I didn't see any punches. I didn't see. Usually when there is some fighting involved, something happens, but unusual. Get all these guys ejected.
So a wild start to the top of the first. Here's Aramis Ramirez. And a ground ball to short. Simmons to his left. And he'll take care of Ramirez. We'll see if Gomez was ejected as well. Paul Maholm gives up a home run, and a wild scene ensued in the top of the first inning. 3 of this series.
This was the first pitch of the game. Never took his eyes off Mahalam. Almost like he was challenging him there. So if he was going back to being hit a couple of times by Paul Mahalam in his career, that's what this was all about. And then he got his payback and had to pay himself. That is Bush League right there. And he's out of the game as a result. I can tell you this, that's not Ron Renicke's style of baseball, nor his coaching staff. This is all on Gomez for acting like a 5-year-old.
So he's ejected, and Logan Schaefer takes over in center field, and the Braves go to work with Andrelton Simmons against veteran right-hander Kyle Loesch, who's 10-10 so far this season for Milwaukee.
He's a veteran guy. He's been around with several different clubs, as you said, Chip, but check it out. Last 15 starts against the NL East, he's 7-0 with an outstanding ERA.
Simmons with a bunt try. It's going to hug the grass. It's going to roll to the bag. It's going to stay fair. A bunt hit.
Gomez has been kicked out of the game. They've got a new center fielder. Good pitch to bunt on that breaking ball. Allows you to kind of get a head start toward first base as long as it stays fair.
And what a bunt. I don't know how many times have you seen Andrelton bunt for a hit this year?
Not many.
Not many. And now all of a sudden he's the leadoff hitter, and he just wherever Freddie wants him, he fills that role. Last night, I think, where was he hitting, 6th or something, kind of an RBI situation, and wins a game with a base hit on a walk-off. And tonight he's leading off, so he bunts for a base hit to get the game going. Good stuff out of Andrelton.
Guys, Andrelton Simmons obviously pays extra attention to the infield. Over that road trip, Ed Mangan and his crew overseeded the outfield and the infield. He told me it's thicker, it's playing truer, and it's playing a little bit slower in his mind. So the idea to get it on the grass and have it slow, I think probably he knew exactly what the surface was going to play like.
Got to know your own ballpark and be friends with the groundskeeper. It always helps.
And Andrelton doesn't miss things like that. It's incredible at such a young age. He's thinking things like that.
Fouled away by Justin Upton, his first at bat of the night tonight against Kyle Loesch.
His 4 keys to pitching success for Kyle Loesch. Number 1, he's got postseason savvy. 13 postseason games, 8 of them starts. And he's been tagged by the long ball himself, 26 of them this year. But how many of you last year in the wild card game against the Cardinals, Chris Medlin started for the Braves, how many of you know that Kyle Loesch is the guy that started for St. Louis and got the win? Pitched into the 6th inning, gave up 2 runs, a walk, and 6 strikeouts.
A great way to add to a terrific season for Loesch last year. He went 16-3 for the Cardinals. He led the National League in winning percentage, and then very late in spring training on March 25th, it was revealed that Loesch signed a 3-year, $33 million contract to play for Milwaukee.
He had a hard time finding a job. I don't know if it was agent related that had a high price put on it. But he's been a solid pitcher. He's going to go over 190 innings pitched tonight. Throws 90 to 92 with a slider, curve, and change. Got a very good changeup.
That's a strike over the outside corner. Upton is retired for out number 1. And we understand that Gerald Laird was also ejected from the game for yelling during the scrum with Milwaukee. So Freeman and Laird ejected for Atlanta. Gomez, the only Brewer we understand, at least I believe at this point, has been kicked out.
Is that a new rule, yelling at players? I mean,
he might have been yelling at the umpire for all we know.
Oh, what was he was yelling at the umpire, but then
Agla breaks his bat and skies one into shallow center, and that's playable for Scooter Gennett. 2 out. Tom?
Guys, after everything had seemingly calmed down on the field after the scrum, the Braves were back in the dugout Doug Eddings kind of peeled his way over towards the Braves dugout, towards Gerald Laird and Terry Pendleton, where they were still kind of hollering a little bit, but out towards the field. And Eddings made a point to come over, take a few steps towards the Braves dugout. That's when we think he ejected Laird. TP, who's coaching first now, stays in the game.
Little history between Doug Eddings and the Braves too, so maybe he was
that's what's going on.
looking for a fight.
Here's Evan Gaddis, and he jumps the first pitch and grounds to short. The flip to second is in time, and that will retire the side. Andrelton Simmons with a bunt hit, and Atlanta strands its first base runner and trails by a run heading to the second. AT&T Uverse, by Delta Airlines, and by Ford. Milwaukee leads by 1, and the Braves lead by 1 as far as the ejections are concerned. That's not a very good trade. The Braves lose Laird and Freddie Freeman. Carlos Gomez kicked out for Milwaukee after hitting a home run. That's right, nobody got hit by a pitch, but a home run was hit. Gomez didn't touch the plate as Brian McCann intercepted him, barked at him, and then a wild scrum took place in the top of the first.
We always say you come to the ballpark, you'll see something new you've never seen before, and we saw something we've never seen before and we'll never see again, probably.
Chris Davis swings the first pitch and lines out to right. One away in the second for Milwaukee.
Brian McCann would not let Gomez. No. That was just unprecedented.
And he wasn't even trying to go around him.
Fireworks here to start the night.
Jeff Bianchi hit a home run here last night, his first home run of the year. That led off the 5th inning for the Brewers. Beaten on Andrelton Simmons' walk-off hit in the 9th.
When Jose Fernandez hit that homer and watched it in Florida, and the Braves got on him, and he was very contrite the next day, and maybe that night in his press conference talking about how he was embarrassed. He said, Brian McCann talked to me like a father would talk to a son. I don't think that was the conversation between Brian and Gomez.
I had a lot of father-son conversations like that with my dad. I'm just saying.
That's about 10 feet in front of home plate.
One ball, 2 strikes as Bianchi fouls one to the Brewers dugout. Well, said at the start of the broadcast, this is the last time we'll see Milwaukee this year, but we'll see them right out of the gate next season. We'll play opening day against these guys at Miller Park, and I'm sure tonight's.
I'm sure everybody will forget about it. Is that what you were going to say, Chip?
Yeah, sure.
They'll lose the video.
No swing. 2-2.
I'm trying to figure out why Freddie got kicked out. Freddie got kicked. I mean, Freddie's yelling at him to run, just like Mahalam was telling him to run, and Brian McCann was telling him to run before he even got out of the home plate area.
Swing and a miss. Bianchi is down on strikes. When there are plays like this that happen during the course of a game, oftentimes there's a pool reporter assigned to go interview the umpires. I'm assuming that the press corps will have that scenario laid out for us.
You know, what's the difference with what Freddie's doing here and what the Brewers were doing? The Brewers were trying to protect their guy. Freddie was coming in there to help Brian McCann. So what's the difference?
I'm with you. So we'll find out perhaps later on tonight at the end of the ball game. Now the umpires aren't obligated to comment. They don't have to. But hopefully they'll shed some light on their reasoning for the ejections. Popped up by Sean Halton, foul, and he's quickly behind 0-2.
I know that they try their best to make it even. Okay, one of your guys and one of the other guys. But with the way that was instigated with the Bush League play of Gomez, I'm not sure that it warranted a 1-for-1 there.
Back up the middle, and Halton aboard with a single on an 0-2 count.
Well, I totally agree with you, Joe. The thing is, this is a big game. This is a game where both sides should have their players. This is for home field advantage. Cardinals already won today. We should have Freddie Freeman. They should have Gomez. Weren't any punches thrown. There was a lot of yelling and shoving. But you know, umpires should be able to say, you know, okay, let's, you know, there was some yelling and shoving, but I mean, there's been so many worse fights. That wasn't even a fight. That was a bench clearing thing. Everybody go back, get your warnings. But we're missing Freddie Freeman for tonight, for what we don't know yet why. And it's a huge game.
Yeah.
I mean, this is both teams should be able to play and carry on this game at you know, with their normal lineups. From what I've seen and from what we've seen, I think that's how, you know, it wasn't very pretty, but it wasn't like a riot out there. It was just some guys a little upset.
Well, that's where the escape phrase for the umpire's judgment kicks in.
Yep.
Again, we won't know till afterward. 1 ball, no strikes to Scooter Gennett. Runner goes, good jump, and Gennett fouls one over the Brewers dugout. Even count.
Man, that was Halton running, right?
Uh-huh.
Tell you what, if he's running and he's as was described to us, a big clumsy first baseman, if he's running, then the Braves are going to have to do a better job of holding runners and be aware of other teams really trying to run on them at this point.
1 ball, 1 strike. Murph mentioned the Cardinals were winners today. They beat the Nationals 4-1. Jordan Zimmerman was going for his 20th win today. Didn't get it. Shelby Miller started and was victorious for St. Louis. 1 ball, 1 strike. Caught a corner. It's 1-2 to Gennett. A swing and a miss, and Scooter Gennett is struck out. Mahalam has a couple of punch outs. They both came in a scoreless second inning. It's 1-0 Milwaukee.
Banjo Braves live crew has brought you unbeatable coverage of the Braves all season long, and they're sticking with the team through the postseason. Tune in to Braves Live Playoffs edition immediately following every divisional series game on Sports South.
So Brian McCann and Jonathan Lucroy now talking things over as Brian leads off the Atlanta second.
I'm sure Lucroy was saying, you know, our guy's a nut job. So, you know, cooler heads have prevailed here. Let's play baseball.
Hope you're right. A strike to McCann. It's 0-1.
Which is a shame because Gomez has had such a good year and played so well and great defense. I enjoy watching him play.
But isn't that his reputation in that at times he plays the game out of control?
But again, I'm going to stick up for Ron Renick and his staff. That is not anything they endorse.
McCann hits a pop-up in the middle of the diamond, and Bianchi makes the play for out number 1. So with all the changes, let's get you caught up on our Braves lineup. Remember, Freddie Freeman was ejected from the game, so Dan Uggla takes over his spot in the batting order. Elliott Johnson started the game at second. He's now at third base, and Chris Johnson's inserted as the Atlanta first baseman, and now Chris hits for the first time. So another day, another lineup for Freddie Gonzalez, but certainly not the way he envisioned this one at the start of today's play. And a strike to Chris, who starts tonight at .327 for the year. He's 8 points behind Michael Cuddyer of the Rockies. And Johnson down on strikes, 2 up, 2 down. Second strikeout for Kyle Loesch. Down and into Elliott Johnson. 1-0 Milwaukee. We're in the second inning. That's how to play a foul. It's an even count. Don't underestimate these Brewers. We've talked about it a lot during the series. They've played very, very well considering they've lost Ryan Braun. They've lost Corey Hart. They've lost Ricky Weeks. Their starting pitching has been excellent this month. Brewers finishing up their season on the road. They head to South Beach for a date with the Marlins over the final weekend in Miami. Check swing roller toward first. And the tag applied for out number 3. 3 up, 3 down. Elliott Johnson rolls out. Kyle Loesch leads off the Brewers' third, enjoying a 1-0 lead. Our great Fox Sports crew did some research and went back and found some history between these two clubs dating back to June 23rd up at Miller Park. And it might shed a little light as to what got Gomez so upset in Game 3 of the series tonight. We'll show that to you in a moment as Kyle Loesch stands in for the Brewers. And the ball in, 1 ball, no strikes. Mention that Gomez has been hit twice by Paul Maholm in his career. One of those hit by pitches took place in that game up at Miller Park. That's over the outside corner, strike 3 called. Gomez also in that series was hit by Julio Teheran. That was in the series opener up in Milwaukee. This was Game 3 with Maholm on the mound.
Well, if that's what upset him back in June, and he was doing a stare down with Paul even after the first pitch and swing when he almost fell down. He got his home run, but he really, I don't think he bargained on what the aftermath was going to be of him standing there and watching it and then yelling at his pitcher, yelling at the Braves pitcher, I should say. He hit a home run earlier in this series, and there was none of that. He hit one off Mike Minor.
Line drive to left by Aoki, and that ball carries over Gaddis's head, and Aoki on his way to second with 1 out. So another double for Aoki, his 3rd 2-base hit of the series.
Had him played real shallow, and that ball slicing back toward Evan, he just kind of overran it a little bit.
Misjudged a little bit. I really think Aoki surprised him a little bit with how well he hit that ball. Wind blowing a little bit out to left, but I think the fact, like you said, Joe, that he's playing in, that you got to play him in, he stung that ball pretty good.
Yeah, he did.
So here's Logan Schaefer, the man that took the place of Carlos Gomez. It's always funny to, I guess, listen to the different perspectives depending on whose side you're broadcasting for. We thought that Gomez instigated the incident by pausing and admiring and staring out at the mound. The Brewers broadcast team saying that the whole incident was started by McCann and Maholm and Freddie Freeman yelling at Gomez to run.
Yeah, you're right. It is interesting, but they were just giving him some friendly reminders that he needs to run.
Yeah, so why were they telling him to run?
Well, exactly.
He wasn't running.
I think that the thing fans need to know is, because I get this question a lot, what is it? What is wrong with what he did? There comes a point in time where you hit a home run and you pause and watch it, but then it crosses the line to where you're really, in baseball, in other sports, you'd call taunting. And there are penalties for taunting, and I guess you can call it sportsmanship or whatever. And baseball kind of has that unwritten rule that every sport has.
Schaefer strikes out. 2 outs for Maholm here.
You know, you can celebrate in a good play, but then eventually it gets to the point where you are disrespecting your opponent, and no one likes to be disrespected. But yeah, enjoy your work for a little bit, but then it just crosses the line. And you know, there's a certain amount of respect in any profession you have for one another, and you cross that line in baseball and you get yelled at, or sometimes you get hit. I mean, it's at the professional level.
All I know is that there's a lot of guys that get hit by pitches, but not everybody responds the same way, responds that way, and acts like a 5-year-old, as I said earlier. He hit his homer, but then to be yelling at him and staring at him as he was going down the first baseline, there was something else attached there. And I think we've got it on video too, that before he got to third base, he kind of pointed at his leg like, that's for that. So I'm saying, if every guy that gets hit does the same thing, then there's a big problem right here.
Yep, I think you're right. I think that's exactly right. He's referring to that, and
He just didn't see that big roadblock at home plate when he did that.
So Jonathan Lucroy with Aoki at second base and 2 outs. Lucroy grounded out to second in his lone at bat tonight.
Gomez is making a huge assumption, isn't he, that Mulholland hit him on purpose?
Yeah.
I mean, guys get hit.
High fly ball toward right. That'll be playable for Justin Upton. And he's there to retire the side. No runs, a hit, a man left. B.J. Upton, Paul Mulholland, and Andrelton Simmons go to work down a run. The home half of the third inning. Let's get you caught up on the National League scoreboard and games of import for the playoff bound clubs. The Cardinals won, as we told you. Pittsburgh lost. Cincinnati lost. And the Dodgers play the Giants at 10:15 tonight. So St. Louis looking to put a stranglehold on the Central as Upton drives one to right. Aoki, the edge of the warning track, is there for the first out, which sets up a big weekend series, guys, between the Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds. 3 games head to head for Pittsburgh and the Reds. The overall season series tied 8 games apiece. And right now, Cincinnati is the second wild card in the National League. So they would have to go to Pittsburgh for the 1-game playoff. Yuniesky Betancourt has checked in for Milwaukee. He's at third. So I wonder if something's wrong with Aramis Ramirez. Maybe that knee's barking after the melee in the first. And Betancourt will be tested right away. And he makes a good grab. Low throw. But a nice play at first by Holton for out number 2. Wild start tonight in Atlanta, where the Brewers lead 1-0. All year long, Braves baseball on Sports South is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, a low price every day.
That game at Cincinnati, Daisuke Matsuzaka is the guy through 7 2/3 innings of that shutout against Cincinnati.
He's pitching like Dice K in his early Boston days of late for the Mets. Andrelton Simmons has a bunt hit. It's the only hit so far for the Braves tonight. A slow roller toward first. Funny hop, but Holton hangs with it, and Kyle Loesch has breezed through 3 scoreless innings. He enjoys a 1-0 advantage. Eight o'clock in Atlanta. If you missed the start of our game, you missed a wild top of the first.
Big wild swing at the first pitch from Carlos Gomez, and then a stare down with Mahalam. Next pitch. A walk. Some trash talking. Freddie Freeman yelling at him, telling him to run. More trash talking, and then a roadblock. He never got to home plate. Bench is emptied.
Sharply hit by Betancourt past Simmons. And Udieski leads off the 4th inning with a clean single. You know, Joe, you made an excellent point about Ron Renicky and his staff. Guys in the truck, if we can rewind that play as Gomez begins to round third base. Ed Cedar is their third base coach. Watch what else you don't see as Gomez continues to jaw and make his way toward the plate. I'll show you after the next pitch to Chris Davis. I think it's a very telling sign right along with what Joe was talking about. As to how Renicky and the Brewers like to play the game. What do you see a third base coach do after a man hits a homer? No handshake, no congratulations, no pat on the back, no nothing. Maybe it was
Gomez wasn't even looking at him. I think Gomez was too preoccupied with his own. Oh,
that was close.
Too preoccupied with his own thing.
He should have said, hey, there's a roadblock.
Yeah.
Come
yeah.
on. Might have had him there. There's something coming up at home plate that you're not going to like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you see it once in a while coming around third, or, you know, occasionally looking at the pitcher, but all the way around the bases.
Well, or you see the coach even try to pat the guy on the back on the way by, you know, just an acknowledgement that you've scored a run for your club. That didn't take place. I think it's just a guess that Ed Cedar didn't like what he saw either. Again, we won't know for sure till after the game. if anything said by Brewers third base coach. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Chris Davis.
I agree with you, Chip, though, that all that I hear about Renicky and his staff, class guys. It's the way the Milwaukee Brewers want to run things.
Davis corkscrewed himself into an out. That's 1 away in the 4th inning. Mahalam's got 5 strikeouts in the game.
Paul's actually pitching a real good game despite all of the ongoings in the 1st inning. He's done a good job with the 5 strikeouts. Time for Georgia Power Energy tip number 13. Jose Constanza. With Georgia Power's Home Energy Improvement Program, customers can get up to a $300 rebate for making qualifying attic insulation upgrades. To learn more, go to georgiapower.com/home improvements.
Jeff Bianchi struck out his first time, and a ball eludes Brian McCann. And Betancourt moves up 90 feet. 1 ball, no strikes. It's a wild pitch. And Paul says it's on him. So a tougher sequence for Mahalam. No chance for a double play unless there's a base running mistake by Betancourt. And Bianchi takes outside, ball 2. Bianchi will be 27 on October 5th. He's out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He was originally a 2nd-round pick by Kansas City. The Cubs claimed him off waivers in 2011. Milwaukee got him off waivers in 2012. Sharply hit and through for a hit. Gaddis comes up ready to fire, and he hits the cutoff man, and the Brewers have runners at 1st and 3rd. So trouble for Paul Mahalam in the 4th, already down a run. And fans who desire to guarantee themselves the chance to get NLCS tickets have to register at braves.com/postseason. Register today at braves.com. Get your NLCS tickets as soon as they go on sale this Friday, September 27th. Chance for Sean Halton to add to the Brewers' lead. Fly ball to right. Upton has to give ground and makes the catch as he reaches the warning track. Betancourt will tag and score on a line drive sacrifice fly. 16th RBI for Halton, and that makes it a 2-0 Milwaukee game.
They have hit some balls the other way. It's almost like their approach right now has been for the right-handed hitters to try to take Paul the other way, any off-speed stuff, and they've been hitting the ball on the button.
Yeah, that ball's well hit. Paul does seem to be carrying pretty good tonight as well.
Scooter Gennett struck out in his lone at bat. And rips one foul, strike 1. Brewers are a club that gives Paul Maholm a lot of trouble. 4-11 lifetime against the Brew Crew. And Paul's seen him a lot. Until he got to Atlanta, his entire big league career had been in the National League Central with the Pirates and the Cubs. 1-2.
He's made some really good pitches to Jeanette. That was a good slow hook.
Saw that pitch for the first time this year against Chase Utley. Runner goes, swing and a miss. And Maholm strikes out Jeanette for the second time. He has struck out 6 Brewers, but trails by a 2-0 score. The Braves have the right guys up to get this game even. Upton, Ugla, and Gaddis are Delta Airlines on deck trio next. Upton, Dan Ugla, and Evan Gaddis coming up for the Braves, as Kyle Loesch has been staked to an early 2-0 lead. Upton struck out his first time. Ugla popped out, and Gaddis rolled out. See if the second time through yields better results for the Braves tonight. First pitch swing, Betancourt at third. Loads up and gets his man, 1 out.
Betancourt came in. He had a couple of hot shots hit to him and then got a base hit. Quite a bit of action.
And as I expected, it was the sore left knee for Aramis Ramirez that drove him from the game. That's been a big problem for him this entire season for the Brewers. One up, 1 down for Ugla.
Well, again, Kyle Loesch, a lot of postseason experience. Pitches a lot like Chris Medlin. Mixes his pitches, throws in the low 90s. Has a good hook and a good changeup.
Ugla pops it up. Center of the diamond. Who wants it? Betancourt.
Another tough play, Joe. That's not that easy as well. Jonathan Lucroy kind of went out, but I think he was waiting for someone else. It's a tough play for a catcher to have to turn around and get that one. Betancourt again getting some action.
So 2 quick outs. Evan Gaddis is the hitter.
Braves did have a home run off Loesch last year in the wild card game. David Ross Hit a 2-run homer in the second inning. There was some controversy attached to that start because people wonder why Brian McCann, a left-handed hitter, didn't start against Loesch, but Brian's shoulder was such that he just wasn't healthy.
Broken bat, out to second. Jeanette's got it. And the throw to first in plenty of time. Kyle Loesch is rolling merrily along. He will bat first in the 5th with a 2-0 lead. A crazy first inning. Milwaukee added a run in the 4th. They lead 2-0 behind. Starter Kyle Loesch. Don't miss your chance to see the Braves make their postseason run this October at Turner Field. National League Division tickets are on sale. Get them at Braves.com/postseason. Still don't know whom the Braves will play in their first round matchup. That'll be predicated by whether or not Atlanta has home field advantage in the first round. All the way through the playoffs, for that matter, as far as the National League's concerned. American League has a potential Game 7 since they won the All-Star game this year. Loesch bloops one down the first base line. That'll bounce off the tarp. And out of play, strike 2. Ruled out of play by Loesch. As things stand now, the Braves and Cardinals share the top record in National League play. That's because St. Louis won earlier today. But the Braves have the all-important tiebreaker by winning the season series. If the Braves and Cardinals end up with the same record, Atlanta would have an advantage over the St. Louis team. 2-strike pitch popped up into the straightaway center. Upton's got it. That's out number 1 in the 5th inning.
Yeah, so a tie doesn't do St. Louis any good. They've got to win the wild card by a full game over Atlanta. If they tie, the Braves are the home field, get the home field advantage.
Dodgers are 2 games back, but with only a handful of games left, it'll be very, very tough for Los Angeles. Dodgers won last night. Matt Kemp and Yusel Puig hit homers as they beat the Giants. And they'll face Barry Zito tonight. Ricky Nolasco will pitch for Los Angeles. Top of the order, Aoki. He's doubled in 2 trips. And this one's bounced toward first. Easy play for Johnson. He's got it. 2 out. Base is empty for Milwaukee. Logan Schaefer will be the hitter, and we'll remind you that Delta Airlines, a proud sponsor of your Atlanta Braves. Schaefer struck out swinging in the Brewers' third. Schaefer took over for Gomez, who was ejected. The Braves had Freddie Freeman and Gerald Laird ejected. It's been confirmed now. And Mahalam, an even count. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Talking about the Dodgers getting Kemp back, but Andre Ethier's out with a bad ankle. And they don't know if he'll be able to play the next 5 days in preparation for the postseason, or to what effect he might be able to play if he's on the postseason roster. So every time they get somebody back, they lose someone, at least in their outfield.
But if you're going to lose somebody, it's kind of nice to have Matt Kemp playing in the weight, ready to step in.
Yeah, he's starting to heat up a little bit too.
Ethier had been the Dodgers right fielder, but with Puig's emergence, Ethier moved to center when Kemp was hurt. Now Ethier's hobbling. As Joe said, popped up to the left side, and no play for McCann. It's off the screen. And Schaefer, another swing on the house. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Oh, right at the top of the gate there. Brian's pretty good at, if he gets to the soft part of the screen, pushing the screen back to give him a little more clearance to make a catch. But that area where that gate is, it didn't give.
Two and two. Defensive swing, and that is a foul ball. Chris Johnson tried to steal it out. Chris took over at first base after Freddie Freeman was ejected after 2 batters in the game. This one's going to stay fair, and Chris will hit Mahalam on the run, and Paul makes the play for a perfect top of the 5th inning. 2-0 Brewers. Ryan McCann will go to work for the Braves first. by Toyota, by Sony Picks Cloudiest Meatballs 2, and by the Home Depot. It's 2-0 Milwaukee. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Brian McCann, Chris Johnson, then Elliott Johnson are coming up against Kyle Lohse. And the subject of our question tonight, name the last Brewers pitcher to win 20 games in a season. Name the last Brewers 20-game winner.
That'd be a guy we were talking about a couple of nights ago, Teddy Higuera.
Good guess. Oh, 0-1 the count for Brian. Wonder if Brian was channeling his inner Monty Python. You know, the Black Knight. None shall pass. When Gomez made his way around third. There's a drive deep right center field at the fence. It's going to be caught.
I thought that was gone for sure.
Me too.
That ball's smoked. We talked about the ball carrying a little bit tonight earlier on some balls hit by the Brewers, but they were line drives probably a little bit under this wind that's blowing in a little bit from center. He hit a ball that high. I think the wind knocked it down a little bit because that ball's smoked.
Mark big enough for Logan Schaefer to bring that one in. And that's the first out of the inning. Chris Johnson, he struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. Lohse gave up a bunt single to the first Braves hitter. Nobody else has reached. And now 0-2. Lucroy tried to steal a strike there, didn't get it. 1-2 now.
This guy doesn't walk many people, hasn't walked anybody tonight. 36 walks in 193 innings. But he's given him he has not missed a start. He's given him a ton of innings. He's been a good influence on a lot of their young pitchers, like the guy who pitched last night, Thornburg, who has learned how to pitch a little more than just being a thrower.
To second. Jeanette's got it. And first is in time for out number 2. Braves got to get something going, guys.
Offensively, it's been a struggle, Chip. You're right. And we talked after the clinching in Chicago that they could spend the week kind of getting some guys some rest, but also getting them geared up and ready for the postseason. And there's certainly nothing good about Freddie Freeman getting thrown out of this game at all. But if you want to find some silver cloud, is that Dan Uggla's getting some more at bats. But this is the type of guy you might run into. You're going to run into some hard throwers in the postseason, but this is the guy who beat Atlanta last year in the wild card.
And as you said, he's not going to hurt himself.
No.
Yeah, you're going to face guys that can pitch. You're not going to face any guys that are just winging it out there.
Back to the mound. Elliott Johnson taps out. 15 in a row retired by Kyle Lohse after the bunt single for Andrelton Simmons. He leads 2-0. Nothing. Milwaukee has the lead. Kyle Loesch has thrown 41 pitches to complete his 5 innings of work tonight. They have new coaches and a new attitude. Now the Wolfpack's ready to attack the ACC. Make sure you watch the premiere of Driven NC State football. 1 pack, 1 goal. Friday at 11 on Fox Sports South. Paul Mahalem's not pitching a bad game at all. 2 runs on 5 hits. And Jonathan Lucroy pops one up on the first pitch to Chris Johnson. And a rare easy out of Lucroy, who's having a terrific year behind the plate. We mentioned this in the first game of the series. You are looking at the catcher's RBI leader in the form of Jonathan Lucroy of the Milwaukee Brewers. And that's our Academy Sports and Outdoor leaderboard.
2 ahead of Willen Rosario of Colorado, who burst on the scene last year and had a great year. Yadier Molina's offensive year has been curtailed by a sore knee of his own. But he's back in there every day for the Cardinals. But Jonathan Lucroy, another guy that maybe not be on too many people's radar, but if he's in a bigger metropolitan area, bigger news center, everybody'd know about him.
A lot of good quality hitters at the catching position too.
Yeah.
Guy going for a batting title, and Jonathan Lucroy, and good group. We talked about a good group of shortstops in the National League too.
Yudieski Betancourt is behind 0-2. He scored the 2nd run, and he smokes one out towards center. B.J. Upton's there and has it for the 2nd out. Let me ask you guys this question. Much has been made of Ryan Braun and his suspension, and he will be back opening day for Milwaukee next year. They have Gene Segura. They have Lucroy. Their pitching staff has been outstanding in September. Do you think Milwaukee has enough to jump back in the middle of things in the National League Central with the Pirates, Reds, and the perennially competitive St. Louis Cardinals?
I think they've got to add a little pitching depth, but they're strong up the middle. I kind of foresee Jeanette being their 2nd baseman next year instead of Ricky Weeks, no matter the fact that they've got Weeks signed through next year. Jeanette's a good contact hitter. Looks like he's a solid player. But they're solid up the middle, and they've got Ramirez. They get Corey Hart back healthy. That'd be a big plus. They haven't had him all year. They traded away the guy who had been their closer for a couple, 3 years, Axford. Traded him to the Cardinals. So I don't know if Henderson's the guy. Maybe he is for them to finish games, but I think they just need some pitching depth to help get them going. They had 1 bad month that really cost them. That was May. And it was awful.
A bouncing ball foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Chris Davis. Limited duty for Davis this year, only 127 at bats, but he's hit 10 home runs for the Brewers. He's getting an extended look with Braun suspended. But when Ryan comes back, they've got Braun in left, they've got Gomez in center, they've got Aoki in right. Right now, Davis might be a 4th outfielder for him, unless he's trade bait for a pitcher.
Yeah, it's a good foundation, good ball club. They'll be able to go to spring training next year kind of under the radar. But with Corey Hart and Ryan Braun back, some of the things they've done well this 2nd half, yeah, I don't see any reason why they couldn't sneak up on some people and be in contention.
As it stands now, Milwaukee 22.5 games behind the Cardinals, and 23 with St. Louis's win today. A lot of ground to make up. Now Davis drives one toward left. Gaddis is there and makes the play. Mahalam gets him in order in the 6th inning. Braves got to get somebody on and somebody to pop one. It's a 2-0 Brewer game. A Subway game summary.
I agree.
Or a pretzel. Here's your in-game box score.
I'll go through this. Since I've got so much experience, I can break down statistics really well now.
Okay.
Pretty complex
I'll
stuff.
start at the top.
Andrelton Simmons has got a bunt base hit.
And we go to the bottom of the sixth.
I got to tell you, that was some outstanding analysis, you two. That was very well done. As Kyle Loesch goes after B.J. Upton, the Braves' 8th place hitter.
He's got some incredible pitch count numbers, and what's he's got 15 in a row, set down 15 in a row.
He's thrown 43 pitches to get 15 outs.
And he's all the way up to 10 pitches out of the strike zone now.
Little tapper. That might stay fair. It is going to trickle foul at the very last instant.
A little bit of spin on it, and then a little propulsion from the lip of the grass.
So BJ back to work. And he takes too high.
So what you would surmise from the fact that he's now thrown a total of 11 pitches out of the zone that were called balls, he's got to be around the plate, but his pitches, other than McCann, I can't think of too many hard hit balls.
Soft roller out to second, gets B.J. Upton, 16 straight retired.
Was it 11 out of 16 first pitch strikes, something like that? 12 out of 17 now. So he's getting ahead in the count and then getting them to hit his pitch.
Well, I was never a very selective hitter or didn't guess a lot. But this is the kind of guy that tricks you into guessing and thinking way too much. And that you're exactly right, Joe. When he's thrown this many strikes, you have got to get your brain out of the way and go up there and see it and swing, because you're going to get a couple pitches to hit every at bat. Just stop trying to figure him out.
Well, has there been a better scouting report provided for the Milwaukee pitchers in the National League this year against this Atlanta offense? This is game number 6 against the Brewers. They're shutting out the Braves again tonight, and they've already completed 3 of Atlanta's 16 offensive shutouts this season.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we got some advanced scouting reports, and they're following the report. You know, the thing is, you get a report and you find out how to pitch to people, but they're not making mistakes against the Braves. A lot of them they're making a few here and there, but like you said, Joe, just well hit balls. Brian McCann smoked that one pretty good, got it a little high up into the wind, but other than that, he's been tough to put the good part of the bat on the ball.
Yeah, BJ hit a ball to deep right. Those two are about the only solidly hit baseballs tonight. That's been kind of a trend lately. The month of September has been a slow offensive month for the Braves.
1 ball, 1 strike for Simmons. He has the lone Braves hit. And that was a bunt. Here's what Joe's talking about. The month of September has been offensively a very cruel one for the Braves.
Just a .210 average, so that really brings the on-base percentage down. Not enough opportunities, and even when they have had some, their runners in scoring position are down. Thing about the lineup tonight is Freddie gets thrown out before he even gets an at-bat. Freddie Freeman, that's a guy they've been leaning on heavily. He and Chris Johnson now. So Freddie's not in the lineup, and all of a sudden Chris is now 0 for his last 12. That leaves Andrelton among guys that have been swinging it pretty well. Justin has too.
Broken bat pop. Left side, it'll be Loesch. And the pitcher handles the pop up on a broken bat. And Kyle Loesch has retired 18 consecutive Braves. 2-0. Milwaukee has the lead in Atlanta tonight. That tells you how this game began, as a ground ball to short off the bat of Jeff Bianchi is grabbed by Andrelton Simmons. 1 up and 1 man down. That run is all that Kyle Loesch has needed so far, as you see our Jaguar game summary.
Kyle Loesch has been dictating tonight. I mean, he has been outstanding. Just the bunt hits, all he has allowed. First inning got wild, 3 guys thrown out. Carlos Gomez hit the home run, and then I don't know what he turned into. A knucklehead.
Kyle Loesch has been brilliant. He's set down 18 in a row. Paul Maholm's on a nice run himself. He set down 9 straight. Sean Holton drove home the second Milwaukee run with a sacrifice fly. He also has a second inning hit.
Did you get hit a lot, Dale? Do you remember?
No, not a lot. I was off the plate quite a ways. I didn't get hit a lot. That's another thing that's remarkable to me about Jason Hayward's quick comeback after getting hit in the jaw. I mean, I didn't like to get hit anywhere. I don't ever remember getting hit in the head, much less the jaw. And there's always a little psychological thing after you get hit. But what Jason Hayward went through, and to come back so quick, I really admire him for that. No, I didn't get hit a lot. And one of the things I learned, and one of the reasons was when I came up, it was, you hit the ball well, you better put your head down and run around, because you're going to get drilled for sure the next time, and if you do any hot dogging out on the bases. So I tried to remember that.
9,041 at bats. You were hit 28 times.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's good. No more than that. That's good.
I think Craig Biggio has the record. Don Baylor's second for number of times hit by a pitch. Biggio was right on top of the plate. He was tough as nails.
those guys did it.
Strike 3 to Holton. Joe, you know how many times you were hit?
Not many. I'd say half a dozen to 10.
7. Yeah, 7 in 1,531 plate appearances.
That's not many. That's about 7 too many for me. But
means you guys are really smart. Get out of the way of the ball.
I can assure you this: they were all accidental.
2 quick outs for Mahalam. I've got him with 7 strikeouts now. And a base hit by Scooter Gennett, who had struck out twice. He wasn't going to get to 2 strikes in this at bat. He singles on the first pitch. All year long, Braves baseball on Sports South is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price every day. Milwaukee clears the pitcher. It's Kyle Osh. He'll have to face the 2, 3, 4 hitters for the Braves in the 7th. That's outside. 1 ball, no strikes. And Loesch with a base hit with 2 outs. Gennett will stop at second. Can't give these guys any more, and a tough hitter coming up in Aoki. Two on for Aoki. A star with the Yakult Swallows in the Japanese Central League, where he had over 1,200 hits. He'll be 32 years old on opening day next year. As Atlanta's bullpen will begin to work, it's Anthony Favaro. Brewers media guide tells us that Norichika's last name is translated in Japanese as Blue Tree.
Well, he's wearing the right uniform. The blue Brew Crew.
Yes. That sequence is translated as Blue Knee. Brian McCann took the foul tip. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ball dropped down a bit for the first time tonight, and Aoki was able to keep the at-bat alive.
Well, this guy presents problems for you, whether he's leading off and fouling off a lot of pitches because he's been tough to strike out. You know he's going to put it in play, but especially here now with a runner in scoring position, defense has got to be on their toes and make a play. Stopped by Brian.
2-2. Now Mahalam wants to talk strategy here. We have a minute. Want to wish a fond farewell to one of our Mountain Mobile engineers who's leaving us after 9 years with Fox Sports. Todd Casey's been our lead engineer on HDX 16. We're going to miss him. He's done a great job on our Braves show, and we wish him all the best in his future endeavors. So Todd, best wishes. Thanks a million. Been a lot of fun working with you. We hope we'll catch you down the road. Two balls, two strikes. And a little looper into left field. It's going to drop for a hit. And streaking around to score will be Scooter Gennett. And Aoki makes it a 3-0 Milwaukee game. 3 consecutive 2-out singles.
And the one by the pitcher hurt the worst. Set it all up.
Well, Aoki just battles and battles, and I don't know how you hit when you're bailing and wailing like that, but he obviously, we all know he doesn't strike out very much and just keeps making contact and dunks one in.
That old theory of keeping your bat in the hitting zone as long as you can. His angle, his bat angle, is in the zone, level with the pitch for a long time.
I guess you wouldn't consider that bailing and wailing, because you're right. It looks like it, but somehow he's able to keep that bat in the zone.
Well, I mean, it is in a sense, because it's like his back pockets are going out of the box. They're leaving the vicinity, but the bat and his hands and everything are still there. I don't know how he does it either. I don't know how Ichiro did it, and Ichiro was amazing how far he could hit a ball.
Truly one of the advantages of being a left-handed hitter, being able to kind of get your momentum going that way, just drop the bat on the ball. Wow. A lot of movement, but it's working.
1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 on, 2 out. And Paul misses again. It's 2-2. Lucroy's on deck if Schaefer reaches. We will see Anthony Bavaro, it would appear. Ball at 98 pitches. 71 strikes. 3 straight singles have him down another run in the 7th. And that just missed. Took a couple of steps toward the plate and thought he had Schaefer struck out.
And Fox Tracks tells us that Paul Nauert was correct.
Runners go, ground ball right side. Chris Johnson fields, flips, and Mahalam wins the race to the bag. That retires the side. Aoki gets the 3rd RBI hit, but the hit to Kyle Loesch is the one that hurt the most as we stretch down 3-0.
To look at our Chevron upcoming starters. David Hale will make his second major league start. He struck out 9 in his first. Tyler Cloyd has really been scuffling along for Ryan Sandberg's Phillies. He has pitched to an 8.25 earned run average over his last 5 starts. He's still competing for a spot in the rotation next year, which will have a couple of holes. Hale, though, coming off that 9 strikeout performance. Guys, he told me that game, Brian McCann was calling pitches that he had never thrown before, and he got some newfound confidence in his changeup. I wonder how often that happens when you throw a pitch you'd never thrown in the major leagues and you have success.
I think that's pretty cool that he gets challenged that way by a veteran catcher to trust his stuff, and here's a place you can go at this level with that kind of stuff.
I'll bet Tyler Thornburg has a similar story. Remember, he was 0-9 at AAA before pitching well last night for the Brewers. We're all excited to see David pitch tomorrow. The Cardinals will be idle, by the way, as they won earlier tonight. Braves down 3 runs. They have 9 outs left. Upton, Ugla, and Gaddis coming up against Kyle Osh. And Upton has been swinging the bat well of late. He's our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot.
Last 11 games, he's been on base a lot, hitting a lot of hits. Good signs to get hot at the right time.
Loesch had to run the bases in the top of the inning. He has not been to the stretch since the first frame. Let's see if Atlanta can get a leadoff man out there and see if that gives Loesch a little trouble. Two and two. High pop fly down the right field line. Aoki is going to have room. He'll make the play in front of the stands. 19 up, 19 down for Loesch.
Loesch's control is just been ridiculous. The first strike there is a changeup right on the black. Then he gets behind him 2-1, and then he throws a little cutter slider on the black, and then he comes back with another changeup on the black. I mean, he's just pinpoint.
His last start against the Cubs, in fact, both he and Mulholland's last starts were against the Cubs. And Loesch got beat 5-1. 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs. He gave up 2 homers.
A breaking ball over Dan Ugla's head. Without question, the most inaccurate pitch Loesch has thrown tonight. He's got 19 outs on 61 pitches.
Wow.
And has thrown only 15 balls.
Excellent change.
Yes. The other thing you got to do on a guy like this is try to break up his rhythm a little bit. Take your time a little bit getting into the box, not stepping out on him necessarily, but the guy just gets in a rhythm and gets this feeling going. Take your time a little bit in between pitches.
Popped up. At second, Scooter Gennett will make the play. That's the second out. And bases are empty for Evan Gaddis. Let's check out our AT&T Uverse trivia question again. Name the last Brewers pitcher to win 20 games in a season.
I'm going to stay with Teddy Higuera.
I don't have, but I'm going with Don Sutton.
Don Sutton. I'm going to go with Pete Vukovich in the early 80s. Way to go, Joe.
Finally got one.
1986. Teddy Higuera went 20 and 11. Fans might forget that Kyle Oesch, when he was pitching with the Cardinals, had a very, very rare medical problem. Exertional compartment syndrome that required surgery. It was a condition more common among motocross riders and distance runners. And a line drive over third by Evan Gattis. Big turnaround first, but he'll stop with a 2-out single. So after retiring 20 straight, Loesch does have to go to the stretch. And he'll face Brian McCann, who has the hardest hit ball for Atlanta tonight.
Would you say, Chip, condition for motocross? And
if I remember right, he had a problem with his forearm.
From motocross.
Like motocross riders, yeah.
On the handlebars and doing all the shock absorption that you probably need to do with your arms against the handlebars of the motorcycle. I see what you're saying.
So if McCann can pop one here, the Braves would be back in the game. It's 3-0.
Well, he popped one earlier, got it up into the wind a little bit. See if he can kind of hit a knockdown 7-iron or something. You got to knock it down.
That was on a fastball up and away from him, too.
Foul. LaCroix gives chase, but he'll run out of room.
Got one to hit here, but again, Loesch has just got a little bit of things that get you. He throws these cutters and these changeups, and then you finally get one to hit. You're just a little bit behind.
Yeah, there've been a few broken bats tonight.
Yeah, hard to sit on his fastball.
Inside, a walk would be nice. That would bring the potential tying run to the plate. 3-0 Milwaukee.
That would be an off speed, probably change up here or something. He doesn't want to give Brian McCann too many more fastballs to hit.
A short slider there.
Yeah, it was definitely wasn't a change.
Fly ball again towards center field, but again Brian just missed it. Schaefer puts it away, and that retires the side. No runs, a hit, a man left. 8th inning in Atlanta. It's all Kyle Oesch and the Brewers who lead by 3. Zaxby's indescribably good play.
Well, I don't know if it's good play or not, but here's what happened. Big swing on the first pitch. Obviously, Gomez had something in mind tonight. Next pitch. Homer, watch. Smack talk. Braves telling him to run, including Freddie Freeman. yelling at him. And then he couldn't quite get to home plate. And then it was on. Reed Johnson appeared to get the best lick in. That was the top of the first, folks.
Yeah, that's all Milwaukee's needed tonight behind Loesch's 2-hit masterpiece to this point. Paul Mahalem's out after 7 innings of 3-run, 8-hit ball, and it's Anthony Favaro answering the AT&T call to the bullpen. Lucroy, Betancourt, and Davis. Line drive to left. Lucroy 1 for 4, a clean single. And that's the 9th Brewers hit. This is Yunieski Betancourt. He came on after Ramirez had some knee issues flare up. So he's 1 for 2. A single and a run scored back in the 4th. That was the 2nd run of the game for the Brewers. And that's a little low. 1 ball, no strikes. Phillies are here tomorrow night. They're in Miami tonight. They've got a 2-2 game with the Marlins. That game's in the 7th. Heard Tom Hart tell you, Hale and Cloyd open up the series tomorrow evening. $19,558 the paid attendance. That gets the Braves over $2.4 million for the season. That's past Elliott Johnson into left field. Back-to-back hits greet Anthony Favaro in the 8th.
Oh, Betancourt's come in and made some good plays at third. Got himself a couple hits.
When you buy Braves 2014 season tickets, you'll secure rights for the entire postseason this year, including the NLCS and the World Series. To get your 2014 season tickets, call 404-577-9100 or visit Braves.com/season tickets.
Paul Mahalim pitched himself a good ball game, gave up 8 hits, 3 of them last inning that produced a run, and 1 was by the pitcher, and that hurt to set up the RBI single, but he pitched a good ball game. He just nothing to support him tonight.
So a battle of 10-10 pitchers. Loesch trying to go to 11-10. The Braves hope to rally to keep Mahalim from going to 10-11 for the year.
The way Loesch's pitches is hard for me to envision him losing 10 games. Man. It's a lot of decisions, though. It goes deep into some games.
0-1 for Chris Davis. And blown away.
That's kind of his career too, Dale. He has 128 career wins and 119 losses.
Really?
So he's been out there for a lot of decisions. He's kind of like Chris Medlin, though. I compared him to Medlin the way he's pitching. Through the end of May, he was 1-6. Kyle Loesch.
And then got it going.
Well, he was there for the taking for a lot of clubs. And it was Milwaukee that swooped in late March. This is year 1 of a 3-year deal. As Davis reaches out and pokes one towards center. Upton will gather that in, tagging at second, And tagging at first are the Brewers base runners. And all hands are safe as Davis moves LaCroix and Betancourt up 90 feet.
Well, I liked how BJ got back under it and got in good position to throw. Unfortunately, you got to throw that ball to second base, keep the double play in order.
Like he had trouble getting the ball out of his glove too. I'm not sure, but there's that.
Yeah, a little bit.
In the middle of his crow hop, he hadn't quite gotten his arm back yet, so he didn't get much on the throw to Andrelton.
He didn't, but he's got to have someone yelling at him, and maybe that's to Evan Gaddis's lack of experience, because you always have your off outfielder checking the runners and reminding you where to throw it. I don't know if Evan Gaddis was helping him, but really BJ should know that ball's got to go to second.
So that eliminates the double play chance, and you've got Bianchi up there. He's 1 for 3 in the game. The Braves are already down 3-0. As great as the Braves have played at home this year, they've had some series against losing teams that really have you scratching your heads in this ballpark. If Milwaukee wins this game, they'll take 2 out of 3 in Atlanta. The Brewers aren't the only club that's had a down season to give the Braves trouble in 2013.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, isn't it? Only the Tigers have a winning record among teams that have won the season series against Atlanta. And they will join the Marlins and the Mets and the Padres as only teams to win a series at Turner Field if they hang on and win tonight.
3 balls and a strike to Bianchi. That's why it's so interesting to talk about who's got the favorable schedule, whose schedule looks tougher than the other major league teams for playoff position. Doesn't matter, you got to play the games. Milwaukee 17 games under 500, leading 3-0 over the Braves late in game 3, and the bags are full of Brewers. Bianchi walks, and Anthony's having a rough patch, and he'll be visited by Roger McDowell.
His fastball has been kind of in terms of velocity up and down tonight. He's been 90, 91, and then the last pitch was 96. After the throw went to the wrong base, and we could see BJ up there patting his chest like, I made the mistake, that was my fault, acknowledging that he had thrown to the wrong place. That set up an open base at first base, so the walk's not altogether a bad thing here. You now have a force set up everywhere.
Alton already with an RBI tonight. That came on a sacrifice fly. He's also singled. That was on a 2-strike pitch from Mahalam in the 2nd inning. And he took a called 3rd strike in the 7th. Bases loaded for Milwaukee. 1 man out. 1. Sharply hit. Simmons somehow found the baseball behind the base runner and starts a double play. You're right, Joe. The walk altogether worked out just fine for Atlanta. Alton's doubled up. The Brewers out of luck in the 8th, and it's still a 3-0 score. 1-0 lead.
He's been outstanding tonight, as you see. Very limited number of pitches, no walks, 3 strikeouts. He's been around the plate getting swings, and even the swings are off the end of the bat or some broken bats. Home Depot tools in the dugout. He's had a lot of tools working tonight.
And it's been a very, very lucrative night for Kyle Loesch, who surrenders a first pitch fly ball off the bat of Chris Johnson. And Aoki in right field is there for out number 1. Kyle Loesch had an incentive clause built into his contract that he signed in late March for the Brewers. Once he got to 190 innings, he picked up an extra $350,000. He earned that bonus with his first out in tonight's game. Loesch said, hey, you know, no big deal. That's pretty much the number of innings I expect to pitch every year.
I like incentive clauses. I mean,
Absolutely.
I think it's good for both sides. The team's happy to pay you if you reach certain milestones that they know if you get there, that's a good sign for them. So it works good for both. I mean, it's not like he signed a bargain basement contract. If he's getting $11 million on average a year to start, that's pretty nice base.
Yeah, you guys, what's that like?
Laser.
Just all right. Yeah. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Elliott Johnson. You might recall at the trading deadline or shortly afterward, when the Braves were rumored to be in the hunt for a starting pitcher, Loesch's name was dangled out on the waiver wire, and it's apparent that the Braves claimed him. Milwaukee obviously pulled him back, and the Braves did not add him to their roster. Loesch making life tough on Atlanta as he goes upstairs to get Johnson with a fastball for his second out.
Is that the way that went down?
Yeah, I think it was after the trade deadline. I think it was a little bit beyond July 31st. But yeah, Braves claimed him. Loesch was pulled back. Who knows if they'll keep him next year? Maybe they'll start those discussions again next year. Don't know. 2 outs, 8th inning. BJ Upton the batter. He's 0 for 2. Strike 1. 3 runs on 10 hits for Milwaukee. They've left 7 on base. No runs, 2 hits for the Braves, who stranded 2 men.
Well, you got to like what you see and you like what you hear when you hear him working with a young pitcher in Thornburg last night, and he adds a lot to a ball club, not just what he does on the mound, but does in between starts.
He gets the Braves in order in the bottom of the 8th inning. Loesch with 5 strikeouts. He's thrown 80 pitches through 8 innings. In the 1996 World Series. A homer off Andy Pettitte, his first time up. That was Brian Boehringer in Andrew's second time up. The youngest player ever to hit a homer in the World Series at the tender age of 19 years. Andrew had 3 hits in Game 1 of that World Series, and that is tonight's SunTrust shining moment.
I wonder how Andrew has done over in Japan this year.
Well, look and see as we take a peek at Scott Downs, who's on to pitch the 9th inning of a 3-run Milwaukee game.
'24th game for Scott. His ERA's gone up over some recent work after coming back from that broken finger. His last outing against the Cubs did not record an out, gave up 2 hits, and they both scored, so that added to his ERA for the Braves.
He'll face Scooter Gennett. Andrew Jones in Japan. As a ground ball sneaks past Dan Uggla. Gennett has 2 hits in as many at-bats after striking out his first 2 times up. Andrew is playing for the Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles. He's hitting .239. No homers, 11 RBIs. No, that's not right. That's not right. Hang on.
How many games?
Very small print.
Oh.
21 homers, 69 RBIs in 120 games, and hitting .239. He's been hit by pitches 14 times. That leads their club. You ever think about playing in Japan, Murph?
No, I didn't. At the end of my career, I wasn't healthy, so you know, no opportunities.
No.
Yeah, no opportunities. A lot of people ask me about even DHing, but I wasn't healthy enough to go to the American League and play, really. I did make a trip over there once with an all-star team. It was a blast. A lot of fun. 86.
Loesch with the bunt. Downs makes the play. Runner at second, 1 out. And after the sacrifice, the top of the order comes up for Milwaukee. We'll have AT&T present Braves live after our ball game tonight. Freddie Gonzalez will talk about the happenings in the opening inning, get sound from the locker room, and tonight's highlights. Not many offensive highlights for the Braves again, who have already been shut out 4 times in the month of September. The Brewers are trying to hand the Braves their 4th shutout in the 6 games played between these 2 teams this year.
One of the concerns about Scott Downs in recent days, and especially when he's considered a left-handed specialist to come in and get lefties, is that they're hitting now .333 off of him. 9 for 27 after the hit by Gennett. Right-handers were already hitting .320 off of him. So a lot of hits, but especially by the lefties.
Well, a tough lefty here in Aoki. He's down a strike. There's a good pitch. That ball was fouled off Aoki in the batter's box.
Here's where he's kind of a real rock and a hard place to defend. We saw him pull balls into the right field corner in this series. We just saw him dump a ball out into shallow left center for an RBI. We saw him go the other way and hit a ball over Evan Gaddis's head tonight that carried over his head. So
yeah, what do you do?
How do you play him? And even with a left-handed pitcher, they're giving him the hole on the left side because Simmons is holding the runner.
What I would do, I'd just throw him slow stuff and throw him in and try and get him to pull the ball.
But he can flip the bat like that. He's done that twice, and on an 0-2 pitch, Aoki brings home Scooter Gennett to make it 4-0 Brewers.
Never mind. Slow stuff. I don't know what drive you crazy up there. Does this pitch maybe have a? Nah, I was going to say maybe it had a little bit too much of the plate, but it's down and away. I throw him fastballs in and slow stuff in, and then play him to pull.
Okay.
I mean, I would try to make him predictable. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm going to write that down for next year, opening series of the year.
You got it. I'll text you and remind you.
Okay.
You tell Roger, pass it on. I got him figured out. Well, or you just throw everything away and then play him away. You know what I mean? You got to eliminate.
Kind of like that, yeah. Play shallow.
But I like him to pull it because he can run. So I don't want him to work on that left side of the infield. So
I've written it down.
I've got a better idea. Why don't they trade him to us? We don't have to worry about our pitching. Three more hits for Aoki, 2 more RBIs for him. How many hits does he have now? 168 hits. And in this day and age, an astounding on base percentage approaching 36%. Oh, and 1. Swing and a miss. He had a big jump off first, but scrambled back. In the other baseball, Cleveland's winning tonight. Tampa Bay is winning tonight. The importance there is if Tampa Bay beats the Yankees, New York will be eliminated. No chance for the Yankees to make postseason play.
Texas was losing too last I checked.
Texas, they are sinking. They are only 3 games ahead of Kansas City. Tampa Bay and Cleveland at the moment would be the American League wild cards. The Indians taking advantage of a very soft schedule. Johnson fields and flips to Simmons, and the return to first is late. Aoki is forced out. Logan Schaefer beats the rap at first, and there's out number 2. Let's look at the AL wildcard standings up to the minute. A lot of discussion, guys, about the apparent disparity for the Texas Rangers versus what Tampa Bay and Cleveland have to go through. Texas plays in the same division as the Houston Astros. We're having an awful year again. 107 losses. And Texas has blasted Houston this year. 16 out of 18 wins.
They've come back, and they're now leading Houston 6-3.
As Scott Downs will be taken down. And we'll continue that AL thought thread when we come back to Atlanta with Milwaukee now up 4-0. Was brought to you in part by 5-Hour Energy, by Georgia Power, by Ram Trucks, and by AT&T. Tough times at Turner Field again tonight. Milwaukee leading Atlanta 4-0. The Braves have been out hit 12-2. Kyle Loesch has retired 24 of his last 25 Braves hitters. Let's get back to our AL update. You're right, the Rangers now 6-3 over Houston. The Rays 7-2 over the Yankees. Indians over the White Sox 5-2 in the 7th. The Royals play in Seattle a little later on. But to continue our talk about the unfairness of having Houston in Texas's division, the Chicago White Sox have absolutely laid down against Cleveland this year. The Indians have beaten the White Sox 16 of 18 times.
Yeah, so nobody can complain about Texas when you look at stuff like that in the other division. By the way, David DeJesus hit another homer for Tampa Bay tonight. I saw there. What a pickup he was. He may not have hit as many homers as Soriano has for the Yankees, but DeJesus has done wonders for that Tampa Bay lineup.
If the Rays win tonight, that'll give them 89 wins this year. I bet you didn't know this.
I bet you're right.
The Tampa Bay Rays,
Whatever you're going to say.
Tampa Bay Rays in contention for a playoff spot have drawn 27,000 more fans than the Marlins this year. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's not good enough, is it?
No.
Cameron Lowe in to try to finish up this inning. It's become 4-0. Another run to work with for Kyle Loesch,
who has 9 career complete games. His low hit complete game is a 2-hitter April 21st, 2011 against the Nationals.
Yeah, just 2 starts ago, he had his only complete game this year, and it was against Cincinnati. At home in Milwaukee, 9 innings of 4-hit baseball, gave up 1 run, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Threw 111 pitches that day in 9 innings, which is virtually nothing. How many has he thrown tonight? 80 through 8 innings tonight. Whew.
One ball, 2 strikes. And Cameron Lowe takes care of Jonathan Lucroy and sends this game to the bottom of the 9th inning. A pinch hitter, then the top of the order. 4-0 Milwaukee. Has to do with pinch hitters and pinch hit home runs. The Nationals with 7 lead National League teams, and then 5 teams tied with 6, including the Atlanta Braves. Reed Johnson will lead off for Atlanta here in the 9th. He already has 1 hit tonight. Even though he's pinch hitting.
Yes.
Snuck one in there.
I wonder if we'll see Reed get a start before the end of the regular season. I know he'd like to, because as he told us the other day in Chicago, it's very, very difficult to get your swing down with 1 at bat a night. Tom?
Chip, the plan from Freddie Gonzalez, he said he was hopeful today that he could get Reed a start and at least 3 at-bats against Cliff Lee on Friday. The other plan, he said, is he still tries to work his way back, is that they can still send guys to Instructs.
Little pop, shallow center. Jeanette avoids the umpire and hauls it in for the first out.
So especially with that 3 days off before the division series started, especially if the Braves had the luxury of starting at home, and they would, should they finish with the best record in the National League, they could still send some guys down to Orlando, guys like Reed Johnson, give them a chance to face live pitching, to get some at-bats there, and most importantly for Reed, get some running in.
Yeah, I think he really needs to test that Achilles, Tom, before they decide that he's on the postseason roster and don't know.
1 out in the 9th for Simmons. He has 1 of the 2 Atlanta hits. It was a bunt in the first inning. Taking nothing away from Kyle Oesch, but you can only wonder how differently this game might have been played from a Braves offensive perspective had Freddie Freeman gotten even 1 at bat tonight. He was kicked out after the fracas with Gomez in the top of the first. Not only was Freeman ejected, that forced the Braves to totally shuffle and change their lineup. Dan Uggla had to come in and play second base. He was placed in the 3rd spot in the batting order, with Chris Johnson and Elliott Johnson also changing defensive positions. Popped up, shallow center. Logan Schaefer is there, and Loesch is 1 out away from a complete game shutout.
Dale, this is something we talked about earlier tonight, and that is there just haven't been that many hard hit balls. McCann, we thought, hit one out of here earlier tonight. B.J. Upton hit one to deep right in the 3rd inning. But really not much other than that that I can remember.
Yeah, no, it's been all Kyle Oesch. Pinpoint control, mixed his pitches up well. Not really, what can you say? I mean, you know, you hit a few balls hard and you hit them right at him. Well, that's one consolation, but you haven't hit the ball hard tonight. And before this furious comeback that's coming up here, I just want to say thanks, guys, for everything. This is my swan song tonight.
Oh, that's right.
So I want to thank you guys and everybody in production and Fox for having me this year. Again, it was a great time, and you guys finished strong, and we'll see you down the road. Thanks for having
you here.
It was a blast.
One ball, 1 strike. Bouncing ball, right side, scoop there, and Kyle Loesch with a fist pump, and a well-deserved fist pump indeed. A complete game 2-hit shutout as the Brewers take 2 out of 3 from the Braves. They fired 3 shutouts at Atlanta this year in 6 games played. Make that 4 shutouts for Milwaukee in 6 games played. Amazing.
3-hit shutout in game 1, 2-hit shutout in this one.
Braves offense blanked for the 5th time in September. 4-0. It's Milwaukee's turn tonight.